Hello everyone, hi, it's Elena with you, and today I'm going to show you one of probably the most interesting cases we've come across so far. Well, let's start with the fact that the polish has grown out. Yes, as you can see, it's almost completely slipped off and is right at the very edge. And as we can see, besides the fact that the big toenail itself is in a very sad state, we can also see the bunion. So the client has a bunion and it's in a rather unpleasant, let's say, actively acute form. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. I want to tell you a little bit about where this client came from. She came to us on the recommendation of one of our regular clients and said that what is happening to her started about a year ago, at least according to her. Although, to be honest, I think it probably happened much earlier. It's just that often clients, or just people, let's call them that, are not able to determine the severity of their condition, you could even say that. That is, someone might not notice a change in the color or structure of their nail. Well, and the same thing could have happened here, basically. Well, in general. According to the client, she says that about a year ago something happened. Either she hit it or something pressed on it. In short, something went wrong, and since then her finger has been bothering her. But Lena decided to make a pattern, which is her standard method at work. She puts the foot down, traces it on any sheet of paper, and cuts out a pattern like that. Do you remember how we used to trace our fingers as kids? After that, you put it all into the slipper, and we realize that the foot doesn't fit in there at all. But you can even see with the naked eye that the shape of the foot and the shape of the shoe are very different. We placed it on top, and you can also notice that on the sides and everywhere there's something extra left over. Of course, the client was recommended offloading, an orthopedist and so on, but that's not what we're talking about today. I'd like to draw your attention to this little bone, which many people often have. It's that very hallux valgus, the very consequence of flat feet. Overall, there's nothing pleasant about this, and of course this bone won't go away on its own. It can only be removed surgically, and by visiting an orthopedist and using offloading devices we can only relieve the condition. But here we have another surprise waiting for us. After what seemed like the lion's share of cleaning was done, we discovered this. Well, let's call it something like a little ulcer, so what can I say? Things like this can happen to nails if you don't address systematic mechanical impact on the nail. Eventually, a wound like this forms. It's weeping, wet, unpleasant, and of course it hurts. Naturally, our first priority will be to reduce the inflammation, and only then can we proceed with any further work. The plan here is nothing less than a correction system, because we need to straighten out this twisted ram's horn, somehow save the situation, and once again make life easier for the client. And notice the second toe is hammer-shaped, meaning it's a bit longer than all the others. And during the times of wearing the wrong shoes, and as I understand it, they were probably all wrong, considering the condition of the foot. Basically, it was poking and hitting against the inside of the shoe, which caused this kind of deformation. And right on the bone, we can also see a small bone callus, which again isn't going anywhere and will stay with us. We can only relieve the pressure on it, but it's absolutely necessary to do so, and it's something we can and should work with. Because otherwise your feet definitely won't thank you, and it will only get worse. I know it sounds like I'm trying to scare you right now, but I just have to say it because it's the honest truth. Honestly, my grandmother had very similar bunions on her feet, and I realized that I have every chance of getting about the same thing by a certain age. That's why you have to take care of your feet at any age, and the sooner we start, the better. Well, some kind of grand archaeological excavation is still going on here, because it seems like you look and think that everything is almost done, but no, there are still layers upon layers. Just look at this. For some reason it almost reminded me of a Napoleon cake. I guess it's not really normal to compare legs like these to a cake, but apparently I've already developed some professional quirks, and I really like all of this a lot. If you like it too, then of course leave a comment and give it a thumbs up. That means I'm not the only one, and I know you're out there. And just look at how many layers are being scraped off here, and that there's simply no end to it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to emphasize that such changes in the nail are called onychogryphosis. That is, it's when the nail doesn't grow the way it should. It becomes thick, yellowish, often curved, well, or like what we have today, so that's what it looks like. I also have another video about onychogryphosis, I'll leave the link. And here is our weeping crater. Look at what an unpleasant thing it is. Special products, antiseptics and so on are constantly used during the procedure, so don't worry about that, everything will be fine. And our instruments are sterilized according to all the standards. By the way, we don't even use a dry heat sterilizer, we have an autoclave. It's a really great device. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's even more reliable. It's the kind of equipment usually found in dental or gynecological offices. Look at how precise the bite was here. I just can't help but draw attention to it. That was just really cool. And I want to say that I'm really happy with how this video turned out, because it's honestly really awesome. Quality content, it's very illustrative. It's exactly about what will happen if you do nothing about your flat feet. If you don't wear orthopedic insoles, you'll end up with something like this bump, and nobody knows yet how long it will take to get all of that out. So let's agree that we'll all take care of our feet from a young age and treat this seriously. And let's not treat it like, oh, it's summer now, I'll just go get a gel polish. I understand that everyone really wants to look beautiful, that everyone really wants to wear open shoes and things like that. But just look at what happens in the end. If you have clients who don't listen to you, who don't want to remove gel polish or do cleanings, who don't want to go to an orthopedist, God forbid, please show them this video. I think this should really impress them. Well, at least it definitely impresses me. There just aren't any other options here. I'm honestly ready right now to run somewhere and put on a bunch of tactical vests myself. By the way, I actually bought one of those pads for myself. I just need to install it now. When I have time, I'll definitely make a story about it. And don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. And here an anti-inflammatory medication has been prescribed. And again, we apply our breathable bandage, but we don't draw a smiley face at the client's request. I know you'll notice and ask about it, but this was the client's own request. And here's our before, and finally what we ended up with after. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye.